After adding all the part in one assembly, position the part in the desired location based on my requirement. Now you can see there are two parts here, and this is the first part and this is the second part. And when I select this part, you can see this is that part, this is part 1, and in front of this part name you can see there is one letter called F. F means it's fixed. If I try to move this part, I cannot move this part, but if I try to move this part, I can move this part. That means this is not fixed, this part is fixed. How this part can be fixed? Because when I will add my first part, at the time SolidWorks will fix this part in a position, so that when I will add the second part, I can position this second part based on this part, because this part is fixed in the 3D environment. But if I want to float this part, that means if I don't want to be fixed this part, then I just have to right click on this first part, that means part 1, and I have to click float. When I will click float, and if I move this first part, you can see I can move this part now. And you can see that F has been removed from here and it has been replaced by minus icon. This minus means this part is not fixed yet. That means the second part also is floating state. If I try to move this part, I can also move this thing. If I want to fix this part again, I just have to right click and have to select the fix from here, or if I select from here, I can also click fix from here. So this is the first part I fixed, and I want to place this part in the right position because this is in floating state. If I want to move this part or rotate this part, I can use move component or rotate component tools. You can get that tools under this assembly tab from move component or rotate component. You can see this is the move component. When I activate this move component, I can move in the 3D space, or if I want, there is few options here along assembly XYZ, then I can move X direction to the Y direction or in the Z direction. There are lots of other options here. If I want to move precisely, then to X, Y, Z position, I have to put the value here. And if I also want, I can rotate this part by this way. And if I want to rotate precisely, then I have to use by delta XYZ. Here I can put the angle. And if I use about entity, that means if I select this edge, I can rotate this part about this edge. And there are lots of other options here. I will discuss about this option later. For now, I will show you how do you position the second part with respect to this first part. If I activate my move part, and if I go to along assembly XYZ, and if I go to this front view, then if I go to this top view, and if I move to this Z direction, if I go to the right view, and if I press OK, and if I go to isometric view, you can see this part has been placed perfectly. But is it really perfectly? If I see from the top view, and if I zoom in, you can see there are a minor gap between these two parts, and this part is not in the right place. You can see like this. So how do I position these two parts perfectly? To position the two or multi-part in the perfect position, you have to use mate. What is mate? It is just like a relationship you used in the sketch. That means that geometric relationship you used between two sketches. There you used concentric or coincident or different type of relationship you used. That type of relation I have to use between these two parts to position the part perfectly. So from next lesson I will show you how do you create the mate and how do you position your part by using the mate.